Check me out.
Yeah. Hey there, podcast listening people. Connor Doobie here, your host each and every episode. Really appreciate you tuning in. Always very grateful for you tuning in and listening to the show. We work very hard to bring this to you each and every week. So please do us this in return. Do us a small favor. Make sure you go leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening, especially on Apple Podcasts, because it really helps with our rankings, helps other people find the show, and we always appreciate your feedback. So make sure you go leave a review. And second, make sure you subscribe so that you get notified when we release a new episode. We're bringing great guests for you every single week, and you're going to want to be notified when we're bringing you great guests. And speaking of great guests, we have a phenomenal guest for you today. Matter of fact, friend of the show, business partner of the show, Summer Asturi, makes her appearance on Mile High Mentors. Whole lot of fun. Summer Asturi is a badass mother entrepreneur. She's a founder producer at Summer Productions, who, they specialize in commercial and film production from conception to completion, concept to completion. And Summer also has experience and passion for humanitarian film projects and documentaries. So you'll definitely have to go follow her on social media, check out her works, and also, someone who is a real creative, but a creative that understands the business components behind it. So I always find myself learning things from Summer. Whenever I have a real creative business idea, she's always my go-to, my confidant in that area. And I can't wait for you to listen in and also just hear about how all around of great person Summer is. Before we dive in, real quick, if you're interested in partnering in the show, you want to collaborate, you have guests that you recommend, make sure you contact us, milehighmentors@gmail.com. Again, milehighmentors@gmail.com, or you can just send us a message on social media. We tend to use Instagram the most, @milehighmentors. Wherever you find us, send us a message. We're always looking for great opportunities to collaborate, partner up with local organizations and businesses. And speaking of which, by the way, no matter what you do, if you're a nonprofit, if you're a startup business, or you've been around for years, if you really have the ability and you really have the capability of helping people and serving people with your product, service, and what it is that you do, it is your responsibility to make sure you're getting that in the hands of the right people and enough of the right people. And one of the most underutilized channels for that is LinkedIn. It's one of the best platforms to get reach for your business, but most people just don't know how to leverage it effectively. So our partners have a completely free training for you that you can take advantage of. It's called the Missing Links to LinkedIn Success, and we'll show you step by step how to drive more high dollar and high value sales from LinkedIn. So if you want to check out that free training, it is activeblogs.com/webinar. Again, activeblogs.com/webinar. And just by attending, you'll have the opportunity to win a tropical cruise. Pretty awesome. All right, folks, without further ado, please give it up for Summer Asturi. And also, I did forget to mention this before we dive in. Make sure you listen in till the very end, because we are working on some very exciting projects for you guys. We have a huge announcement at the end of the show, towards the end of the podcast. So make sure you listen. Make sure you give us a shout when you pick up on it. We can't wait to hear from you guys. Without further ado, Summer Asturi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. We've been talking about doing this for a while now. Even back, we met all the way back in, it had to have been December, I think, was when when I first met you.
At the coffee shop.
At the coffee shop.
And you showed up and you weren't going to drink coffee. And I was like, that's really odd. This is a coffee meeting.
A 6:30 p.m. coffee meeting.
And you're like, I just had a Bang energy drink. And I was like, okay. So.
Yeah, I was really turned on to Bangs back then. They're good.
Not anymore?
No, I still like them, but gotta do them on occasion. They're just like, it's just garbage food.
What's your go-to,
You know?
like, pick-me-up now?
Coffee. I always do coffee in the morning.
Creamer?
Yeah.
Or just
I mean,
black?
you've come and worked at my home office. You know, my whole place smells like coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just always brewing coffee. So coffee. I like coffee in the morning, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like to do bangs. You? How do you stay so energized throughout the day?
Well, my diet consists of coffee and
Skittles.
Candy. Yes. Candy is a big staple. Anybody who's been to my house knows I have like a candy drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And you bet I'm definitely going to have like candy hidden around my house. It's just like a thing. And then coffee in the afternoon and occasionally at night, depending. But
yeah.
coffee.
If I drink it at night, because I'm just always like, I'll be up all night long. Because I already have so much energy, that extra little boost is just going to take me over the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to want to bring this up a little bit closer. I didn't say it, though.
I knew it.
Just bring it a little closer. Or speak louder, but definitely bring it a little closer.
Okay.
We want your audio to sound good. So I knew we had to do this podcast during the summer because obviously your name is Summer, and it only makes sense. We couldn't hold off on this thing any longer, but thanks for coming down. I'm so excited to do this.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone is so interested to hear about what you've been doing and making waves here in the Mile High City. So do you want to share a little bit about your background and, you know, what led you to Denver and just kind of start there?
Well, my journey to Denver started in about 2016. I knew I needed to move to Colorado, but I wasn't ready. I was living in Kansas. I had a daycare. I loved my daycare. And then my daughter needed some medical treatment at Denver Children's, so that led us here. And I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no plan. My mom was always like, Summer, like, what, apply at the school. I was going to school to be a teacher, and I was almost done. I was ready for my student teaching. And something just was telling me, like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to go. I ended up doing the drug test for the school district, and I ended up applying and doing the background check, and I never went through with it. And then I was modeling at the time, freelance. Mm-hmm. And then I just started doing some production assisting gigs, and I fell in love with production. I loved how many pieces to the puzzle there were, and I loved how it kept to my really sporadic brain that already naturally goes into a million directions. It allowed me to categorize those different directions between casting, equipment, and needing to run this errand, getting crafty, and all of the things that it takes to put together a production. It kept my brain really busy, and I always had something to do. There was always somebody who wanted to meet. There was always a project that needed to be done. And so it was really an organic process that I didn't even know existed.
So you were originally going to be a teacher. What kind of led you down that path in the beginning? I could see you as a teacher. Yeah. Great educator.
Well,
but I feel like knowing you, like, I know you probably pretty well compared to a lot of guests that we've had on the show, and we've built a friendship over the last several months. So it's like, I could not imagine you as a teacher, but maybe kind of could. But
well, so my original goal was I wanted to be an attorney and go into politics. And when I got pregnant, I just knew I didn't want to be in that much debt for school. I mean, I didn't come from money, so how was I going to pay for law school and simultaneously take care of my kid, plus being like just life? So then I was like, well, the next best thing is teaching, because then I can teach people about law and business. And I went to a really cool school when I lived in Las Vegas. It was a magnet school that specialized. It was you can major in business, political leadership, or law. And I spent most of my time, the first 2 years, you get to study all three of those topics and then choose which you wanted to focus on.
That's a good model.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
I loved the school. I left my senior year, and it taught me so much. I feel like going to a traditional school wouldn't have been for me, but what I learned out of that is that I really wanted to do something in life that impacted humans, that made humans feel good. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't want to be a humanitarian and join the Peace Corps. That the traditional way. So I've found my way, and that's through film and commercial and creative projects, being in the creative industry. That's how I've impacted humans and how I will impact humans going forward, because it's very human interactive. You get to deal with a lot of emotions. You get to deal with clients who are worried that their money is not being spent correctly, but then you also get to deal with creatives that are like, is the client happy, or are we getting the right shots? But then you also get to deal with talent, where they're just so excited to be part of something bigger. Especially when you get to work with people who aren't necessarily professional models, and the street talent. They're just so appreciative to be there, and you get to learn their stories. And then off of that comes another project. So it's been really cool.
Yeah. So you started originally as a model. What was your experience like with that?
In what regard?
You were in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Before. And how long did you do that for?
About 2 years.
Yeah.
My experience was cool. I mean, I gained a lot of confidence that I didn't have even as a child or teenager. And I got to grow into womanhood, I feel. I felt like after I had my daughter, a lot of women have babies and they lose their identity, or they aren't confident in their body anymore. It was the complete opposite for me. I found my identity, and I also found a way to become comfortable with my body. I got really into fitness, eating healthy, and just the way I looked. I wanted to always feel good every day, and feel confident when I was walking down the street. And so modeling was a cool experience. I mean, I had some weird situations with creepy photographers. All models do.
Yeah. I've learned a lot from you, because I don't know the industry behind the scenes, but I've learned a lot of interesting components from you. Some bad practice, just like any industry, I guess, right? There's like really sketchy people, and then there's really great people.
Yeah. I think my positive situations outweigh the bad, especially when those projects, because you get to feel pretty, you get to have your makeup done, you get to have your hair done, and you get to think, you get to look at inspiration photos and other women or other models that maybe inspire you and create off of that. But it wasn't for me long term. Plus, I'm 5'1".
You knew that going in?
Yeah.
Plus, you're 5'1".
I made
so
some decent money, and I got to do promotional modeling, trade show modeling, all kinds of stuff. And I made enough money to make a living and take care and support my daughter, which was really cool. It's something a lot of models can't say. But I was no Tyra Banks or Naomi Campbell. I'm 5'1", so there was limitations on what I was able to do in the industry. Yeah.
Was there someone in your life that drew you into that industry? Because that changed your entire life, because from there, that led you into production, led you into where you are now. So was there someone you could think of early on that brought you into that space?
Yeah, it was probably my worst modeling experience that did.
Yeah.
So
that brought you into modeling?
Yes. So I was living in Kansas, and I was using Instagram as a platform which I have since deleted a lot of the content. I was using Instagram as a fitness platform. It really helped gain my confidence. It really as superficial as it may sound, the feedback I was getting and the praise and, wow, you did a good job, Summer, you look great, all of that feedback actually gave me so much confidence. So I continued to use Instagram as a model, and later turned that into a business as well. It was called Meal Plans with Summer. However, I was approached on Instagram by a photographer who wanted to take my photo, some fitness photos. And I was like, okay, why not? So I ate really healthy for a couple weeks, and I drove to Wichita, Kansas after work and went to a studio and had my first paid gig. It was like $100, and I never got to see the photos, which is fine because, whatever. But as time went on, I started working with other photographers, and they really
Wait, but you said there was a bad experience.
Yeah.
So was that the bad experience?
Well, the bad experience was afterwards, the photographer got really creepy, and I worked with him one time, and that was that.
Yeah.
But everybody else I worked with was really cool. And
yeah, I feel like it's so, we're living such a weird time. I feel like that happens so much. And I was actually, this was something not to shift directions too much, but was curious to hear your perspective on, because do you feel, being in this space, there's an oversaturation of Instagram models and there's not enough professionalism around the industry, which maybe puts a bad taste in the mouth, because like anyone can go be an Instagram model now, paid, unpaid, mostly unpaid, from what you've shared before. I
absolutely love this question, and I love this question especially because we're live, and I think many people need to hear this. Instagram models, come on guys,
you guys are getting the dirt. Instagram models, you are getting the dirt right now.
Most Instagram models have, I'm probably going to make some people mad, but most Instagram models aren't making money. They're not turning it into a business. And one, probably because they don't know how to. Not everybody is a natural entrepreneur. I had models that were agency represented that were 5'9", 5'10", that should be making money as models. Yeah. Making less than I was as a model. And it's just because I knew how to negotiate. I knew how to talk business. I knew how to approach it as that. From that perspective, I don't know, maybe that's it, but most Instagram models are not being paid. And a big thing that I would love to share with the world is most of those girls probably could be professional models, but commercial clients know the difference between somebody who's laying on the couch in their lingerie versus a lifestyle model who could go get a $1,500 a day rate, smiling in awesome clothes that a wardrobe stylist steamed for them, and they got to meet a really cool wardrobe stylist because they're quirky and eccentric and can teach you things and ways to wear your clothes and all of that. So I really think that the stigma of Instagram models is ridiculous, but I was one. That is how I started, but I was making money off of it, so I can't speak. Yeah,
but on the flip side, it's a really because you have the ability without anyone like being in any agency or being tied to anybody to like promote your own business, which is being a model.
Well, I also do feel, and a lot of creatives will agree with me on this, I feel that Instagram has devalued commercial level work. It's devalued budgets. It's devalued very talented creatives who have been in the industry and who have earned their stripes. In
what way?
In the way that, one, there are creatives out there that will go convince a top tier client of some type of budget. Like, let's say I'll shoot this for $500, but that client really should be spending $15,000 and getting really good content, but they're trusting somebody for $500 expecting that level of content and quality. And there's really truly something to be said about production value. And when you're agreeing to a $500 budget versus a $15,000 budget, you can't afford a producer. You can't afford an actual team. How are you as a photographer going to go meet a commercial client's expectations as a one-man person? You're shooting. How are you going to see everything? How are you going to be like, oh, wow, the light is really pretty over there. Let's try this. Or what if we pose the model this way because from this perspective it looks like this? Also, I'm really thirsty. Let me go get my own water. That's taking away time from being in front of the camera, and that's taking away time that should be spent getting every single shot perfected for your client. But in the commercial world, a day rate for even a PA is, around $350 a day. But if somebody's out there shooting for $500 and delivering photos, when you can give a line item budget and let a client choose what services they want. Hey, well, you know what? We're in the mountains. We don't really need a makeup stylist for this. Okay, cool. But that gives $1,500 more to work with. Let's extend this shoot a day and get even more content. Let's get more talent in here. Let's add variety. So I think a lot of people in the commercial industry and creatives are getting burnt out, and they're constantly, the term is starving artists. I really feel that. I talk to creatives every day, photographers and videographers. They're
any kind of artist. Well, and that's something I've admired so much about you, and is that you very much understand where the line between being an entrepreneur and a salesperson and being a creative kind of meld together. So what advice would you give to other creatives who know they need, to profit, to like be able to be better at what they do? And like, how did you develop those skills?
I can't say that I developed those skills in any particular way. To me, it's just an organic thought process, and maybe being around creatives who have explained it to me, and learning and being on set and understanding what production value is. I would love to stage a commercial and have multiple commercial clients come in and be like, wow, look at how this is running. This is a smooth running train, and look at this beautiful content coming right before our eyes, because we have somebody pulling it off and cropping it and putting it on hard drives as the shoot goes on. So later that night you can decide, well, we got this shot, but let's redo this one. And so if all of those people saw like the production value and it was a stage, then I think many people would probably go back to the old traditional way of actual productions.
Right. But that's a skill set that you have. So like, how can other creatives, like how can they refine their kind of business skills?
Well, one, I think as a community, and not necessarily just a Denver community, because a lot of the commercial gigs are coming from ad agencies from LA, New York. A recent one I just worked with was out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Such a fun crew. But I think as a creative community, all people who are interested in this type of work need to stand together, which it probably sounds so cliche, but we need to stand together and
tying yourself to other people who have complementary
and convince these people that there is something to be said about production value, and there's something to be said about building teams. And I don't know how to answer that, because I myself am still trying to figure that out. I have had some success, and I feel very humbled and blessed for that success and the jobs I've been able to be on and be part of. But I think the community really has to make a stand, and just because you're a photographer that wants a gig, you can't devalue it and be like, okay, I'll do it for $500 when that really is a $15,000 job. We have to,
I feel like creatives' egos drive a lot of that, because it's like, I do this on my own, like, why would I collaborate with other people when really you guys can both create, as a team, create a bigger impact. So bigger impact and provide a better service to your clients. Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also it's maybe educating people and putting them, because there are very, and like one of the guys I work with a lot, Jensen, dear friend of mine, we always work as a small crew, but it's never just a one-man team. It's always like a collaboration of two different brains, because he's very creative and he can put together a story like that. It amazes me.
Shout out Jensen, if you're watching this. You are such a cool dude.
You are so cool.
Yeah.
And then
listening to this after.
I'm very analytical. And so when you put those two things together, it's like, wow, that's really cool. Like, it kind of always puts me in this giddy little girl mood. But then I'm like, okay, well, this is how we do it. We need to find this person, this person, this person. We need to talk to these people. I'm not great at it. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning. But I've turned it into a living, so something's working.
Yeah. So you've just taken action, really, on stuff. Yeah. And that's another thing is, I mean, you're a single mom who's not just like, barely getting by. Like, you're thriving in a lot of areas in your life. And so a lot of single parents aren't. And so what do you think the difference is with that?
Well, the difference is one, I don't take days off, and that I'm sure one day will affect me negatively, and I'll at some point get burnt out or really need a break. But I don't allow myself to think of it in that way. One, I'm very blessed because Bella is so easy. She can go anywhere and be a proper young lady.
And you bring her on sets and stuff too. Yeah. So that's kind of cool that you're involving her in the life and in the business.
Well, I think it's a very good environment for her, because I've, since she was born, always believed she was an artist. I don't know what kind yet. I don't care what kind it is, because I just feel that there's an artist within her. Just her soul is soft, and she's been painting. She would paint on her body as I would just give her little paintbrushes and acrylic paints as a little 1 year old, and she would just paint everything.
Yeah. She's a creative, like,
Very.
her stuffed animal is literally named Poo Poo.
Yes.
Poop. Or was it Poop? What is it?
It's Poo Poo. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like so silly. She's so ridiculously silly.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart, though.
She's a goof. But
Yeah.
in regards to the difference between me and other single moms is I watched my mom, and my job will never be as hard as hers. I have one kid. She had at one point 6 kids at home. She went to school, worked full time, and taught us how to work simultaneously. I mean, that woman was a drill sergeant. We didn't get away with anything, especially me. She was so hard on me, and we butt heads so bad. But from a very young age, I started high school. I was like, 14? From a very young age, I had to get on the bus at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to run 2 miles for volleyball, plus volleyball practice, plus school, plus other sports, and also I was made to work. And so
you kind of were in habit of being busy early on anyways.
Very, very busy.
Yeah.
I mean, even on a day off, my mother's version of a day off was cleaning the house all day, and then we would go get smoothies, and then we would go do this, and then we would do that, but we're also out, so let's go do this too. So it was always go, go, go. And I love that. I thrive off of that now. And when I was a teenager, I'd be like, Mom, I just want to take a nap. She's like, we don't take naps in this family. And so I think that might be it. Maybe I owe that to my mom. Maybe she taught me so much, and that's why I'm not afraid to work hard, and I'm not afraid to not take a day off. Even to this day, that woman doesn't take a day off. And so I live by that. And I could very well be like, oh, I'm a single mom. I've struggled in this way, and I don't have a normal 9-to-5 job. So, life is sporadic and crazy, but I asked for this. This is what I chose. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've never wanted...
Why? Why do you think that was?
I get bored.
Because I did too. Like early on, I was like, entrepreneur. Like that's... I couldn't do anything else.
I don't think mine was necessarily a decision. It was more like something... Not even something clicked in my brain. It was... I remember my mom had a friend who had a baby. I was 7 years old, and my mom was like, you're going to go babysit? I was like, okay.
7? That's 2 years older than Bella.
Yeah, I know. And I got paid for it. And I made my first money at 7.
Yeah.
And since then, I've kind of been addicted to making money.
Whoa, that's so weird.
And I've always been like a hoarder.
Wait, was it really 7?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've talked about that a lot too. Like I started my first business at 7. My very first business. Get that first taste of like
7.
transaction.
I think those are lucky numbers.
Could be.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be triple though, like 777.
That's like casino.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 77's now the new lucky number.
Okay. 666.
No, what? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
We just went straight to Satanism.
Sometimes it's balance,
Yeah,
You're making me feel uncomfortable. It's too positive in here.
Oh, good, yeah. I see 333 all the time, everywhere. For the last several years, I've seen 333. And no one still, like, really, truly knows what it means. But
it means March 3rd of 2003.
I don't remember. I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, so.
Excellence.
Yeah. Excellence.
Yes.
Okay. I dig it.
Dig it. Yeah, back to your question. I don't really know when it was a decision that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just loved making money, and I loved making it on my own time. And when I started my daycare after Bella was... So I had a job at Hibbett Sports. I sold shoes, and it was really competitive. I always wanted to beat the sales. Or one time we had a competition of who can sell the most water repellent. Boy, I tell you what, I sold so much water repellent, and it was the sales and the level
water
of...
repellent? Oh, for shoes.
For shoes.
Yeah.
The competitiveness of it, I just loved, and it was like a driving factor. And then I was very, very pregnant, and then I had Bella, and I went back to work for like a couple weeks, and I was like, nope, hell no. Am I allowed to cuss on this thing? Because hell no. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go back. I, on maternity leave.
Everyone else can cuss, you no.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not.
Well, Count me out. Cut. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I could not do the same thing every day. And also I hate mornings. So I was like, why can't I make a living and start at 10, 11 a.m.? Why can't? Why not? So I did.
Yeah. Kind of goes into building life by design, so to say.
That sounds really familiar, Connor.
Okay, wait. We're going to table that for a second.
Oh, guys, that's a teaser.
Okay, so did you have any specific resources, any help, like anything that you recall that you've been studying over the years or consuming over the years to help you get to where you are today?
That I practiced intentionally, no. More recent
practice, people you've studied, key mentors in your life, because other people are in or have been in similar situations to you, and they're trying to strive to have success and have abundance, and they're stuck. So like and maybe you didn't, which some people don't, but
I would like to say that there were situations in my life that maybe inspired me. I wanted to be different. I think a lot of people expected me to fail. I mean, even talking to my parents now and talking to my father, because of his past and his personal life, a lot of people expected my sisters and I to fail, to stay in a level of poverty. And I never wanted that. I always was so angry when people would feel sorry for me as a kid, even teachers, family members. They would just feel sorry for me. Oh my God, you had a traumatic childhood. You had this happen. You didn't have a mom. Your mom left you. Your mom blah, 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 blah. And it's, I allowed it. I allowed people to give me, their words of condolences, I guess. I allowed that because I needed it as a human thing. Like I needed the emotional aspect, plus I'm a very emotional person, so I welcomed it, and I would talk to people about it when I felt comfortable. But deep down, I wanted that to not be what people remembered me for. I didn't want people to remember me for whatever happened that was out of my control. I wanted people to remember me for what was in my control, and even now. And so directly studying people or having a mentor, I haven't really had a specific person. I've had multiple people that have inspired me. But more recently, my friend Sarah has been studying law of attraction. And it's been really, really odd because she's sending me these podcasts and these YouTube videos. I'm like, girl, I am way too busy to sit here and feed into your philosophy.
Yeah. Oh, because I do the same thing. I'm like, someone listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I know. And then I listen to it eventually, probably 6 months later. But
no, you're pretty good at being on top of it.
Sometimes. But what I learned from this law of attraction is that one of the biggest key points is you just want to feel, it's like living life in a way that you feel good. You don't do something that doesn't make you feel good. And I realized the past year, crawling out of depression and crawling out of a certain way of life that I was used to and accustomed to and just felt like I deserved because that's what I was born into, changing my whole perspective and more or less doing anything and everything that makes me feel good. And if it doesn't make me feel good, well, I'm my own boss for a reason. I'm not going to do it. That, I guess, was law of attraction. And then certain things like imagining something and seeing yourself there, or saying something out loud and then it happens. That's law of attraction. So I feel like maybe that is becoming my inspiration and my way of life. Like even today.
Manifestation.
Yes. Manifesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
We've talked about this.
Many times.
Yeah.
So are we gonna talk about it?
Not yet. We will. But you said something that I think is pretty important to touch on. Something I've talked about quite a bit as well. As you mentioned, the last year of pulling yourself out of depression. What was that like?
Wow. Well,
and also, sorry, not to cut you off, but today even, like, we had a discussion off air, and it's like you got your brand new car sideswiped. You got you're late to pick up your daughter because they gave you the wrong time. Like, you had this crazy day today, and here you are showing up still with an amazing positive attitude and, you know, still laughing and smiling. And so I guess maybe what I caught from that was like you were in a state of depression and now you've learned how to overcome depression.
I wouldn't say I overcame it, because I would say I definitely struggle some days, and it's not something I publicly talk about. So thank you for putting me on the spot, Mr. Dr. Doobie.
You're welcome.
So,
but I think it's important. It's so important to talk about.
You know, you're going to make me cry on air. I struggle. I struggle so badly, but and I've struggled my whole life, and it's not something I've ever admitted out loud until, well, recently and on air.
About 5 seconds ago.
Well, I feel that I've had a rebirth. I feel that sometime after I started my business in September 17th will be a year. And it's not my first business, but this is my baby. This is my baby because I was in a very, very dark place. And I'm not going to go into details, but I was in a dark place where I didn't feel like I was worthy of love, worthy of success, worthy of even getting out of bed in the morning. But I did. I got out of bed every single morning because it's not my daughter's fault that I suffer with depression. And I'm sure she saw it. I'm sure that she saw that cloud over her mom's head. And I was just explaining this to somebody today, is I really did. I feel like I woke up every single day with a cloud over my head. I would wake up and my body would hurt. And I had the same friend who introduced law of attraction to me also was telling me that pain that you're feeling, you're young, you're healthy, you're in shape. You shouldn't be waking up with pain every day. That's got to be emotional. And when I realized that it was emotional, not physical, that was like, I have to make a change. I have to fix this in my life. So every day I just tried to wake up and, like today when my car got sideswiped, instead of getting mad and freaking out, I was just like, well, hopefully that insurance check will allow me to get a new paint job because I would love a different color.
Yeah.
You know, I just have to change the perspective because I could be upset about a million things. I could have a client that wants this last minute and I'm like, how am I going to source this? It's literally 10 p.m. and your event is tomorrow and we're setting up this thing. Or how am I going to find, what do you mean you don't want this person as your model for talent? They're great, but fine, I'll find somebody else. I could easily freak out over that, but then I go back and I'm like, this is actually why I started, the thrill of the chase. And that's how I feel production is. And I feel that starting Some Prods has really helped me pull out of my funk because it keeps my mind really busy. It makes me focus on making others happy, which makes me happy. And it's not even about my personal goals because my job is about making other people's vision come to life. If I don't have that permit pulled, we can't shoot there. If I don't have this cast member, they're not going to get their shot. So if I do that and I can find those pieces of the puzzle, their vision then comes to life, and then my vision comes to life, and that's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
So the more jobs I get and the more variety I get,
the more goals you set, the more you're
happier.
tackling and accomplishing, the more depression kind of like hides in the background.
And it has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with being able to live life more comfortably, nothing like that. It's more watching art come to life, and that life should be designed. I want to keep going back to that because I feel like we should talk about it because that's a big thing of what has pulled me out of my depression.
Yeah.
And I really want that to be a platform, not necessarily speaking on depression or anxiety but
it's important.
Addiction. I don't have a specific platform I want to hit, but
we hit all of them.
Creating art in life has pulled me out of depression. Yeah. Well, mostly. But.
Well, I appreciate you talking about it. It's not easy to talk about, and it's never been easy for me to talk about, and everyone needs to talk about it and express it because, you know, especially in the world we live in today, it's so easy when you're looking at social media and you see these Instagram models who look like they have this amazing life. Go back to Instagram models, and it's like you could really like that's really harmful in a lot of ways too if you're in a vacuum. And I've been there too. Like when I've suffered the most depression and had the hardest times, and was literally like suicidal at one point in time, was self-harming myself throughout my teenage years, it was because I buried those things that I knew I was intended for with my life, and buried the big, hairy, scary goals.
Yeah.
Buried my ambitions. I wasn't living to my fullest potential. And that's probably most people are not living to their full potential. And part of living at your own full potential is by creating a life of your own design. Ooh,
brought it back. Yay. I
So
don't think anybody knows their full potential or ever lives up to their full potential.
Yeah, but you don't know, and people think they need to figure it out before they start taking action.
Don't figure it out.
On the
Just
things.
live it.
Yeah.
Live it.
Yeah, live that. So, okay, let's shift gears real quick, because we have some really exciting stuff going on that, we have to talk about. And, something that I'm interested in, I think we align in very well, is that we want to help people, and we don't even know how, but we're just taking action to make it happen. So we wanted to use this platform to do something great. And whether you're a professional, you're an entrepreneur, or you're a student, how to create a life of your own design, because we live in the perfect world to make it happen. So, Summer, my question for you is, what is your version of a life by your own design?
My version. Inconsistency. I think
that's surprising. I was not expecting that.
I think I need to understand your question better, because my life by my design is not how to do that. I think your question's too broad. I think what we're trying to say here, correct me if I'm wrong, is we would like to help people find their life by design.
Yeah, but what does that mean for you? What does it mean? What does life by design mean to you?
Life by design to me means being in charge of every aspect of my life without controlling it, because we can't control everything. But being in charge allows you to have some type of control. So choosing each day to wake up and listen to my body and listen to how I'm feeling. And yes, I'm going to have meetings on the calendar set up a month prior or a week prior, or projects. So put those aside, because those are just kind of a given. But life by my design is waking up and listening to how I feel and not ignoring it, not pretending like I'm okay, not pretending like my rent is due tomorrow. I just want to live life in a way that I feel comfortable and good at any part in my day. And any part of my life, when it comes to making business decisions, when it comes to greeting somebody on the street, and when it comes to sitting down and doing something like this, feeling a sense of calm. And that is my design. My design is calm. What's yours?
You are a pretty calm person. For as Riley of a person as you are. Pretty calm person. For me, I would say my life by design is freedom and abundance. So
you say that word a lot.
I feel that word. It's not that I say it, it's like I really feel that word, because I, grew up. I didn't grow up like dirt poor, like my parents couldn't afford, certain things and like meals and stuff like that. But I grew up in, middle class, average family. Not that that's negative, but it was that lifestyle where, your family's tied to the home, and they're, it's like, there's always enough to get by, but never enough for abundance, to have freedom, right? So I want an abundance. So you're a
flower child. You need to feel free. That's what you're trying to tell me?
Maybe not free, and free with I put I'm harder on myself, and I put more restrictions on myself than anyone would put on me. So by freedom, I mean being able to do what I want when I want, travel when I want, spend the time with whomever I want, and be able to help whoever I want. And if a client comes to me and says, I want to work with you, and I have the freedom to say, no, I don't want to work with you, right? That's freedom. Yeah. Someone's willing to give you cash for something and you say no, that's freedom.
Yeah.
And I knew I want to help a lot of people. So
I love that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I love that. I feel that every business decision should align with who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And as entrepreneurs, we often don't do that, especially in the beginning stages, because one, we're so hungry. We want as many clients as we can get. We want as many projects as we can get.
Take on anything and everything you can get.
We have to survive. But I love that that's part of your version of freedom, because I never thought of it that way. I never thought that freedom could be the ability to say no to a client that simply just doesn't align with how you feel and your philosophy as a business.
Yeah. Same with, no to friends, like no to certain things. But I always knew I want to help a lot of people. And so I want an abundance of resources. I want an abundance of money. I want an abundance of love. I want an abundance of happy relationships. And I want my health to be massively abundant, because I plan to live to 155. Like, why not? It's doable now.
Well.
Whoa. Oh. I was like, spirits.
Wow.
But
I got deep, Connor.
Where were we going with that? So that's my life by design. Now, other people, that may not be their thing. Mm-hmm. They have their own version of this. So what are we going
to do about that, Connor?
Well, something that, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to kind of lay the picture and then let you, tag on? Do you want me to...
Let's just have a conversation.
Okay. Let's talk about it. So a couple months ago, because you and I both established that we wanted to help a lot of people, and we're trying to decide what direction to take with this amazing platform that we have and the resources we've connected up with in this platform, we, started formulating, like, how can we combine? Because when I met you, I was like, wow, this woman is, like, incredible. You have such a unique personality, such a unique skill set. And you're just like a go-getter.
Some people call that neuroticism.
Some people, but some people could say, like ADD or, whatever about me. But there's always negative.
Correct. I'm just kidding.
I hope they are. But we were talking about what can we do? How can we help people? And I'm like, well, what scares me? Like, what do I not want to do? I'm like, I don't want to be that inspiring person who's on stage, like, rah-rahing people. So that's what we got to do, because that scares me. And we need to put on a conference.
Yeah.
So our plan and what we've been working on behind the scenes, which,
But we had a stigma. We have a stigma that we want to break. We wanted to do and I think this is really important for a lot of listeners.
The flowers on the wall, or
no? That's gonna be a brilliant summer production.
Okay.
That we can't talk about because that's gonna be a surprise.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't take it out on the microphone. I mean, shit.
This microphone is in my way, and it makes me.
I made recommendations.
Okay.
So
we wanted to do a conference, but we have a stigma that we wanted to break, and this is really important for entrepreneurs and people who don't think,
entrepreneurs, professionals, students,
and people who don't think.
I feel like we're announcing this in the worst way.
I know.
Like laying this out in the worst way.
Status quo.
Yeah.
So
what are we doing? What's the plan for next year?
We wanted something unique. We wanted something that people who are conference goers want to go to, but we want to surprise them and make them feel at home.
Yeah.
So
we're creating the most renowned Colorado conference of entrepreneurs, students, and professionals. That's going to be 100% locally ran, locally driven, locally best, all local sponsors and all local speakers. Nobody's done this before ever in the state of Colorado, and we're going to create this as a beacon for anyone who's looking to build a life by their own design. Because I feel like by me consuming the right information, it's I'm not there yet. Mm-hmm. Hell no, I'm not there yet. Like I am at the very lowest bottom point of where my potential is. But I've been able to put the right pieces in to start getting there, and I want to help other people do the same, and I think you probably feel the same way.
Absolutely. And I think that what we want listeners to know and our audience to know is that we're not going to do it as a typical conference in which you have your 2 famous keynote speakers that come. We're going to bring in as many people from as many different industries to teach you how they built their life by design. Because in the creative industry versus your B2B business marketing, sure, you can tell me how to live my life by design. That's not going to resonate with me because my brain doesn't work until 10 p.m. because I'm a creative.
I know. What are you going to do with the early sessions? I mean, we might have some 8 a.m.s rolling.
Well, I'll
have coffee for you. Don't worry.
Tons of coffee. That's the biggest line item on any budget that I create. I'm just kidding. No, so we're going to bring in
coffee and tequila, the 2 best line items.
Tequila. Yeah, let's do it. At the end.
Okay, we're going off the rails here.
End. Okay, but we're going to have as many people from as many industries who have made it. And not necessarily self-made. They could have had mentors, but we really want it to be personal. We want it to be like a fireside chat times 1,000. Because we're going to invite however many people. We have a cap of 1,000 people. But we're going to break it down into 2 days. We're
still honing in on official dates, but we're looking like June 4th and 5th of next year. Yeah. June 4th and 5th, that's what I would expect. 2020. In the conference is going to be called Mile High Mentors Life by Design. We've been working on this behind the scenes.
And it's so exciting. It's so exciting.
Yeah. All the but really, like, we've had some amazing people on the show, some amazing interactions, and some people that need to be learned from at a deeper level. So we're creating this more long form, 2-day of total community build, but also like I am a marketer, but somebody in another space, like I learn from people who aren't in my space. And that's what other people, I hope to help other people learn. Someone may not be in productions, but they learn something from you. Just a golden nugget that applies to their industry that isn't even relevant. So you and I were going back and forth on like, how do we do this dang thing? Like there's so many conferences, there's so many, events and stuff like that. How do we make this unique, and how do we really make this like a landmark? And we decided to break this up in a way that's a little bit different than how most, should we talk about that or just kind of like announce that as we go along? Should we kind of tease it a little bit and just...
Well, I just think... I don't know. That's a hard one. I would love to tell
you're
the
the boss. You're the production brains. So
as much as I would love to tell everybody what we're cooking, can you guys smell it? Just kidding.
I don't know why that came across so weird.
It reminded me of Dwayne Johnson.
Can you guys smell it?
I had a crush on The Rock when I was a kid, so it's like every time I say
Where did The Rock come from?
Dwayne Johnson.
Can you smell it?
Yeah,
that's his thing?
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Oh, okay. Do you remember? Do you know what we're talking about?
He had he was always like, smell.
Okay.
All right. But as much as I would love to share the details, I think we should just be more vague in the sense that we tell people it's a 2-day conference. We're breaking up day 1. Day 1's going to be traditional conference style. Day 2,
traditional. I mean, it's going to be
traditional with some quirks. Yeah, because it is us putting it together.
Are you saying we're quirky?
I would say so, and I like it, but don't gargle right now. This is weird.
I'm just trying to drink my water, bro.
Day two is going. Both days are going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Day 1 is going to be about learning and immersing yourself into changing the way you think.
Yeah. Mindset and then also wealth, making money.
Yeah, mindset and wealth. And day 2 is about wellness in your relationships. As an entrepreneur or as a business professional, you absolutely cannot.
I just got so excited.
I know I get goosebumps.
Those of you guys who don't know, I'm actually like kind of sick today, so like my energy isn't there, but I just got so jacked up.
So juiced.
Ooh.
But day 1 is about mindset and wealth because we all want to make money.
Yeah.
But you have to be in the right mind frame to make money and appreciate that money.
Say mind frame?
Mind frame. Mindset. Is that a word?
Yeah, mind frame's a word.
Okay. You have to be in the correct mind frame to appreciate the money that you make, to use it correctly, and to make sure there's longevity with the money that you're making. And with day 2 being about wellness and relationships, business is all about relationships, and you don't
not just business, so everything.
Life. You don't get a second chance at a reputation. You might in different neighborhoods or in different cities, but at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself, and if you know you mess up, whatever. So I think it's very important to keep your relationships very clean and good, and make sure that everybody you're around feels the love from you. Everybody makes mistakes, I get that, but we should all live our life in a way that we feel good at the end of the day, and
you feel like you're in control of.
And that's what we want to teach people with Day 2, is to take care of their health and their wellness and their relationships, and to make that a lifestyle, so that what they learned on Day 1 can come into fruition forever.
Well, now that you're officially a part of like the crew, you know, you'll be hearing from Summer again when we do the podcast behind the podcast. Hopefully you'll come join us for that. You know, every 10 episodes.
I'll hear from Summer. I am Summer.
I know. I'm talking to the people.
Oh.
Not you directly. You're like, what is happening? What?
Interesting.
I'm talking to the audience right now. Yeah, the people that are listening to the show.
Okay,
good. But the podcast behind the podcast, we, talk about it again. But we'll make some announcements. Now that's officially out, we're going to get tickets, launched up here, pre-sale rolling out. And, just can't wait to help people and just really, impact the community here. And
I think now's a great time to kind of invite people to reach out to us, whether it's on Instagram, email.
Yeah. How can people, set that aside, you individually, how can people get in contact with you? How can they reach you?
My website, sumprods.com.
Okay.
Or hello@sumprods.com. SUMPRODS.
Email.
Okay. I love email because, one, I don't ever want to miss a detail, and if I have a person-to-person conversation, I might miss some details. If it's laid out in an email, I'm not going to fail you. Not.
Yeah.
So
you're a detailed person like that. Summer, so glad we got to do this thing.
Me
finally.
Too.
Thanks for coming down. And guys, thanks for listening. As always, make sure, please, always subscribe, leave a review. We'll see you on the next one.